Get ready to move, get ready to groove. We're bringing the funk, gonna make you move. Life back system, it's time for change.
Welcome back. Coach Lisa Pickard here with a blood work overall. There is so much more to blood work than you could even imagine. However, it is your responsibility to be the self-advocate for who you are, what you need done, what symptoms you have, what babies are crying, whatever that is, you have to pay attention. But I want to give you a couple samples of what is going on. So your blood work has a circadian rhythm, just like you do in your sleep patterns, your eating patterns. All of this stuff adds up. We are a very, very complicated machine. We have some incredible powerhouses in our body, and the first powerhouse is your liver. So what is the liver doing? The liver is putting through like 250 gallons of blood a day. So why do you think they call it blood work? All of you people out there who are like, oh, I have this disease and this disease and this disease and this is what caused it. No, fatty liver disease is what caused it. Having a dysfunctional liver at some point in your life, whether it's slightly scarred, fibrosis, a cyst, whatever it is, in order for you to know how your blood is, it has to go through your liver. Just the bottom line. So even things like breathing in toxins. I was on a live yesterday and we were talking about this very thing. And the whole time I'm listening and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so we breathe in, we have our lungs, but everything goes through the bloodstream and then it hits all those spots, right? So we still have to be careful all the time. Am I suggesting you wear a mask? No, but I am suggesting get your filter clean, right? So how do you do that? We start by having clean blood work. So blood work has a circadian rhythm and it's different in the morning than it is in the evening. The number one reason why I'm sharing this with you is because there's different times that you're going to test and get different results. So don't go like jumping the ship because your blood work came back a little bit off. And this is a really, really deep topic. I'm not going to hit on all of it today, but if you have questions, please drop them below and I would gladly come back and address those. So you have a test, which is a name. You have a time that's the best for it to be taken. Should you be fasted or not fasted? This is a whole nother ballpark of getting your blood work done. Seasons, believe it or not, testing your blood work at certain times or certain seasons is going to be way more beneficial than if you are just doing it anytime, any day. And the results are going to be different. Then I have a column on how long does it take to get results back and how often should you do it based upon your age, activity levels, where you work, that type of stuff is huge. And then what is the outcome, right? And where do you get those orders and how do you do all this? This is a subject that I cannot wrap up in a whiteboard. I'll just be honest with you. But if you want me to do more on it, please let me know and I would gladly teach more on this. Okay, so this is not everything that's needed. So don't go, crazy on me here. I'm going to give you some examples. Let's say that you had a complete blood count. That's a CBC test. You are best taking that in the morning. Yes, you want to be fasted for it. You could do it any time of year. How long do the results take? Roughly 24 hours. How often do you want to do it? If you are between 20 and 30 years of age, you might want to go every 2 to 3 years. If you're over 50, you might want to go annually. If you're over 70, you might want to do it twice a year. So as we age out, we increase our risk of having more and more things show up in our complete blood count. Okay, another one. We have the basic metabolic panel. When, coach, should I test that? You should test it in the morning. How should I fast or not fast? It is preferred to be fast, but it's not mandatory. Again, do your work, ask your doctor, get educated, be your self-advocate, and you will find exactly what you're supposed to do. You guys on Facebook, I'm really sorry we got that glare, but I need it for my YouTube. Okay, the season to do a BMP, it's called a basic metabolic panel. You want to do that any season. That one is something you could do anytime. You could do it in the winter, you could do it in the fall, you could do it in the spring, whenever. Typically 24 hours to get your results. And again, it's the same thing. Over 50, you're going to want to do it at least annually. And I get so frustrated here because blood work is just a reference point, right? But whatever you were doing, 90 days, 120 days ago is the blood work result. So if you just went carnivore, not even 30 days ago, you're not going to truly see the results of being carnivore for about 120 days because it takes that long for those blood cells to function through. And the results that you're getting are based off of sick people, not a healthy person. So you might come in completely different, and the doctor's going to go, oh, we might want to red flag that. Don't talk with your provider, but don't stress and freak out over it because it's not the end result. It's a progress. It's something that's going to be going on till the day you take your last breath. So when we do the BMP, it's preferred that you fast. You can do it any season, 24 hours for results, and it's exactly the same. Again, if you have family history, be paying attention. If you have a lot of symptoms, pay attention. If you're at health risk for something like that, pay attention. This is the things, these are you're a self-advocate. You're taking care of yourself so that you get the best results for your own blood work. Your blood work's not going to be the same as mine. Even if we walk together every day, we live together, we eat together, we're still going to be completely different because you have a chemistry makeup, I have a biological chemistry makeup, and they're not the same. Okay, next one, BET, which is a blood enzyme test. It is preferred any time of day, but if you go in the morning, that's great. And it is preferred that you're fasted. You can do it any season. The results are usually within 24 hours, and we have the exact same rules for the often, depending on your family history and, are there symptoms? Is there a reason why you want to check your enzyme test? Then you would base that off of that. Okay, heart disease. Now, this is another one. The heart disease is always going to be better in the morning. So your circadian rhythms, your peaks on your thyroid, your insulin, everything is going to be right there in the morning. So it's always advantageous to not have had any medication for at least 24 hours. So if you took medication for your thyroid, you would want to back off. Let's say you were going to test Monday morning. You would back off Saturday night because you want that to filter through so it doesn't give you a false reading, which I hear all the time. They're like, yeah, my thyroid came back. And it's like, well, were you on medication? Yeah, well, of course it's going to come back, right? But if you took the medication out, and not for a long period of time, definitely do it under your doctor's advice. And from there, you can back off and get a better reading, or a more true reading is the right term for that. So your blood heart disease test, this is better in the winter. There are quite a few blood tests that are better in the winter because our body naturally drops from not having the sunshine. And this is a circadian rhythm of our blood. So certain times of the year, it's going to appear to be healthier, and other times it's going to appear to be low. So if you're low, let's just say in vitamin D, that's a win. You find out in the winter, you get on it, you're not facing seasonal depression, you feel a lot better. In the long run, it's going to really help you. Okay, so we have heart disease. Fasted, yes. Winter, yes. Approximately 24 hours for the results. Again, the same thing. Over 50, you check it annually or more frequently. Under 30, you're going to want to do it every 2 to 3 years unless there's a family history or symptoms that you're a health risk, and you need to pay more attention to that. Sorry if you just heard the Challenger start up. It's a little loud. Okay, lipid panel. Now, this is another big one. I gave myself some little asterisks here looking down at medication to remind you that if you're on medication, it can throw off your lipid panels. So again, talk to your provider and ask them, say, is it okay if I go off my medication for X amount of time in order to get a more accurate blood results? This is something that's super good. Again, best in the morning, best fasted, great to do in the winter, 24 hours on a result, and the exact same rules on how often to do it. A1C, this is critical. Morning, you're always going to show everything in the morning, and I know people call it the dawn effect, but literally your body was designed to run in the morning and to rest in the evening. So we do want to get up and do these things. Cancer markers can be anytime, but morning is again preferred. Fasted, yes on all of these. Seasons, winter, right here is huge for the winter. How many days to get something back? If you were doing cancer markers, it can take 5 days, 7 days to get that blood work back. So don't freak out that they haven't called you. This is another one. They're like, yeah, I got my blood work done, but I haven't heard from my doctor. Sometimes no news is good news, but it's always good. Be an advocate, call in and say, hey, I'm just checking to see if you got my blood work back. Oh yeah, we did. I'm sorry we haven't called you. Everything looks great. Meanwhile, you're at home completely stressed out. Cortisol levels are out of control. For why? Because you became a worrier. So be a warrior, not a worrier. Okay, let's move down to blood glucose. This is the best test to take between 7 and 10 a.m. You want to make sure you have no medication in your system. This marker right here, they can actually get it back to you relatively quick. It is best to take it in your summer hours, and you do want to be fasted for at least 12 hours. Remember, the longer you fast on your blood glucose and your insulin, the numbers are going to start to change based off of how long you've been fasting. Again, this is a really deep subject. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but if you want to, I will teach on it. I just need you to say, hey, could you do an insulin test, over scope on that, and I'll do it for you. Okay, so let's move to cholesterol. Yes, it's good between 7 and 10 in the morning. Yes, you need to be fasted. Now this one, cholesterol is good in the summer. It is completely different numbers in the winter than it is in the summer. So you're like, well, I only get to go in for blood work once a year. Just do it in the winter. It'll be fine. But if you can choose some summer blood testing, you're going to start to see some huge difference. I also want to cover that for men, you would want to do at least at 40 years of age, maybe once a year, but after 50, it is really, really recommended to at least do it one time a year, if not after 62 times a year, so you can really stay on top of your cholesterol. Now, I'm pro high cholesterol, just so you want to know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying let your cholesterol go up. But if you've first gone carnivore and you see these numbers changing, remember, you will stabilize. So mine was the same way. I went up, and now I am exactly in the norm, whatever that is for sick, right? Where I should be. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of like, why am I not higher? It kind of sounds crazy, but I'm perfect right where I should be, which I'm really thankful for, because that means that what's going on in my liver and how it's producing cholesterol is actually balanced out, where in the beginning, it was like all over the board. Okay, we move to the insulin test. Best in the morning, best to be taken in the winter. Everybody should do an insulin test. A lot of insurance companies do not cover this test because they don't have a prescription for it. This is crazy, but it's true. And if you do an insulin test in the winter, it is going to read differently than if you do it in the summer, preferably the winter, so you get a more accurate reading. Working out will affect that as well. So you never want to work out in the morning. You're fasted from the night before, you work out, and then you go get that test. No bueno. Relax off your workout that day. Just take a break and go in and get your blood work done. Okay, the next one, vitamin D. In the winter, it's always going to show if you're low. This is a good thing. Why? Because then you know you need to supplement, which I talked on a second ago. And yes, fasting is better. Anemia, another big one. Between 20 and 30, one time a year is good. After 40, we start to see changes in the liver, and we start to see changes in our iron. And from here, you're going to want to do that at least annually, and after 50, maybe twice a year. Just checking to make sure that you're not losing blood throughout your veins, varicose veins, the liver. You start to see the damage, and it's starting to show up in your body. Okay, blood pressure. Always in the morning. This is huge. And be careful of medications with that. And it does take 1 to 2 days to get those results back. And mammograms, thyroid, same thing. You come off that medication. We just talked about it again. And you're going to need about 24 hours for those results to come back. And when you're fasted, they're always going to be better than if you're not fasted. And you do want to watch your thyroid after the age of 38, 36. Because as our liver becomes sluggish and it's not making the hormone to the thyroid, and then it starts to affect our GI and our digestive and we're metabolizing in our liver, this is going to start to affect your thyroid. You might not even truly have a thyroid gland issue, but they're like, well, you kind of look this way, let's get you on some medication. And from there, the medication actually starts to damage the liver. So pay attention to your self-advocate. This is you. This is all about you. Education, knowing what you need to know, and how to deal with it. Now, let's just say hypothetical, you're right here, it's your day one, and you just became a carnivore, but your thyroid's already been removed. Obviously, do not go off your thyroid medication, but watch the thyroid on carnivore. Have your doctor be aware of what you're doing so that you can monitor that. We want to see improvements. Carnivore improves things. Can it regrow your thyroid? I actually have seen 3 testimonies that it can. Do I know that for a fact? No. But what I do know as a hyperthyroid person, Graves' disease, it has completely, I'm in remission. I have no nodules. I don't have anything wrong with my thyroid. I speak that into existence because our mind also has a huge control over this body. Your first brain is your gut. Your second brain is your brain. However, it is part of that whole entire believing that you are a warrior, that you are strong, you are healed. You must speak that. You must believe that. Because if deep down inside you're like, oh, I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that, your subconscious is no longer in agreement with your conscious mind, and it's going to always self-sabotage everything you're doing, especially if you're like, no, I'm an addict. I've always been an addict. I'm a sugaraholic. I'm a carbaholic, like whatever it is. You're going to go back to those old thoughts if you don't constantly project yourself into the new thoughts. This is so critical, you guys. Along with that, y'all, like if you are not believing in you, if you have not gotten rid of that negative self-talk, it's going to rear its ugly head again in the future. You're going to have like really good blood work, you're going to feel fantastic, and then all of a sudden you're going to have self-doubt. And you're going to be like, well, what if I have cancer like my grandmother? Or what if this or that? You have to smash those thoughts. Attitude of gratitude, set yourself forward, own the morning, own your day. This is your day. Wake up with that day, and the rest of the day will fall into place. But if you wake up sluggish, tired, irritable, cranky, you're not owning the day, you didn't sleep good, you're not doing your 7 habits, you're going to lose the day. You're just going to be like, screw this day, I'm done, I'm over it, I'm not going to do it. So have those habits in place, get up, do your workout, and you're going to feel a whole lot better from it. Okay, we're all the way down to blood pressure, mammograms. That is something that is your choice. If you feel like you need to get them starting at 40, go smash the breast, take care of it, get it, whatever. I did one. At the time, my mother had some breast cancer, and they were like, oh, you gotta go, you gotta go. I was like, no, I don't wanna go. I went in, had it done. It took 6 weeks or something for them to get back to me. I called them up all the time. I was like in prayer. I even wrote prayers. I rebuked it. I was like, I don't have it. And at the end of the time, I called and I was like, look, it's been a really long time and I haven't heard anything, which of course, if it would have been immediate, because I do have a friend that was immediate, they literally took her into surgery. She found on a Thursday, in surgery on a Saturday. So I did have peace, but my self inside me was like, well, what if, right? Stop playing the game inside your mind, get out of your head or you're dead. Call up and say, hey, I haven't heard my results yet. What's going on? And then let them tell you where you're at, right? So of course I got a letter in the mail on the same day I called, and it said, you are free and clear, there's nothing there, you look great, blah, blah, blah. I have never done a mammogram since. I know there's a lot of people go, you must do them, it's the way to prevent cancer. I'm not saying not to do them. I'm just saying I have no symptoms, my blood work is on, I don't have any fibroids, I have nothing to indicate that I would be a cancer person. Could it change in 6 months? You bet it could. I'm an advocate for that, which is why if you're going to do blood work, be careful of the number game. Pay attention so that you understand exactly what's going on. Okay, the next one is your skin. Okay, so a lot of people, including myself, you hit 40, you've got 40 years of maybe sunscreens and using products you shouldn't have been using, all this cancer that's going on. So I have people all the time, including my own dermatologist. This was about maybe, I don't even know. I really don't know. I think it was about 4 or 5 years of age. I had like a growth on my eye. And by the time I hit high school, it would bleed and bleed and bleed. So of course I went in after high school. My parents were always like, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And I always had this, it looked like a scar. It was like keloiding, but never been injured there. So I was like, what is this? So I finally went in at 21 years old, and they were like, oh, it's off. So they took, a razor blade, knife, whatever you call it, surgical instant, and cut it off. It bled like crazy. They biopsied it. They were like, no, you don't have skin cancer. We don't know what it was. It's kind of like a growth there or whatever. Okay, boom, it's gone. Then for years, and I'm talking years, it would like peel and it would come back, and then it would bleed and peel and come back. Without getting too graphic, it was pretty ugly, and I never liked it. It was just driving me nuts. So finally, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I went back to the dermatologist and she said, oh, I'll just remove it again. We'll test it again. We'll see what's going on. So this time she took like a deeper gouge into it, and it bled, and then they put this stuff on it, stopped. She sends it off, she calls back. You don't have any problems. However, before I left that office that day, And this is what really, I just had to step away from that, is that she was like, have you ever had a body scan done on your whole entire body? And I was like, no. Should I? Now remember, this is going back 20 years ago. So I was like 44, 45, 42 years old, somewhere in there. And I was like, should I? Like, why would I do that? It was my thought. And she was like, well, looking, at your chest and your shoulders and the top of your legs, because she asked me to show it to her and I did. She goes, I want to body scan you. So of course I freaked out, went home, and I was like, why would they want to body scan me? I was really like, why did she plant that negative seed in my brain? But at the same time, maybe she was saying it because we want to help you get over skin cancer. So long story short, I went home and I started looking at pictures of people who had body scans, and literally they were like cutting this out, and I'm like, okay, forget it, I'm not doing that. Like literally, I just like was done, not gonna own it, not gonna fall for it, not gonna do it. So I started doing self-treatments with tallow, and I did have some rough spots that could have looked like skin cancer. So I went in and had them checked, and they were like, well, I forgot what it's called, some medical name that I can't say. Anyways, they were like, sometimes those little rough spots are this, that, keep an eye on it. If it grows, keep an eye on it. And I do have a spot on both hands, and I was like, what is that, And she's like, well, we call those liver spots. So of course I dug into that, which got me here, talking about liver damage, and the liver damage shows up in your skin. So all of these skin disorders, eczema, psoriasis, dry skin, all of it goes right back to your liver. So long story short, I do not get skin scans. If you feel like you need a skin scan, go and get it done. And they do recommend that at the age of 40 you have it done, and then every year after through your dermatologist. It has saved many people when they have a mole that doesn't look right. Whatever it is, literally go get it checked out, go take care of it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you not to do it, but I am telling you to pay attention to your liver, because the liver erupts itself in parts of your body because the blood is no longer doing its job. Well, the liver can't do its job, which then creates these zombie cells in your bloodstream, which then create the cancer in your body. Okay, that's a long one. We're going to move past that. So anyways, remember that when you're fasting, no food, minimum water, no exercise, no alcohol. So if you're getting tested on Monday morning, do not drink Saturday night. Just don't be absence of it. And then if it is a problem, book it on Wednesday or Thursday, and no alcohol in the beginning of the week. Preferably no alcohol at all, especially if you're a carnivore. That's something that you're going to want to give up. And then be really cautious on getting blood work done with medications in your system or supplements. And a lot of people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, if you are going to get your D tested, don't be on that D, 48 hours in advance, which makes the D look good. Step away from it and then get tested. And to be honest with you, this is an accumulation over a 90-day period. So when you look at like your supplements, it's going to be either stabilized and you have been taking the right amount, or it's not stable and you haven't been doing the right amount. Again, it is a accumulation of cells in your body, and it could be 90 to 120 days, and it is gauged against 2,000 people in the beginning of the year that may have all been sick. Please don't let blood work freak you out, but if you do have blood work that comes back, also don't ignore it. And now that's very, okay, coach, what are you saying here? Be your advocate. All right, the last thing, remember that summer versus winter on your testing is a real thing. The circadian rhythm absolutely is there. The next thing is the vitamin D can affect a lot going on inside your mind, your body. You have to be in the healing standpoint of vitamin D. So you do want to have that. And then another thing is, if you get your blood work done in the winter, you are more apt to see your allergies. You're going to know what's going on because your vitamin D is low. A lot of allergies, things that are going on externally, is still coming from the internal of your liver. And I hear it all the time. Oh, I'm allergic to this tree. I mean, even with Kenneth, I hear it all the time. Yeah, the box tree used to cause this, and now this tree causes that. But now we all know with his liver issues, was it the tree or was it the liver? I really question this. I'm not a doctor, as I state all the time. And if you're a doctor, you ever hear this, reach out to me. I'd love to hear somebody else's take on the liver and allergies, because I believe 100%, until somebody proves me wrong, that the liver is responsible for your allergies because it can't do its job. And this is for all of us who have ever lived in America. Even if you ate whole foods, even if you grew your own garden like I did, it is still not the way the earth was originally made. So it's deficient. And when it's deficient, no matter what, you're eating these amazing organic vegetables and fruits, it's still not giving you what you should have had maybe back when we were gatherers, and now you need that meat. It's so important. Okay, your cold affects your blood work, and if you have any type of injury. So let's say that you have an injury in your shoulder and you're scheduled for blood work, or your knee, whatever, it can actually throw your blood work off as well. So if you have injuries, postpone your blood work. If you have a cold, postpone it. I have a gal in my group. She had potentially a cold, COVID, whatever, like late November. She had blood work in January, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is." I said, "You know what? I can almost guarantee you that blood work was affected by what had been lingering in her system for 6 or 8 weeks." Sure enough, she retested and it was all fine. So when do we retest? We retest as fast as you possibly can within the doctor's, recommended time, which is typically 6 to 10 weeks. So, what is fast? Fast to most people is like, "Oh, I'm going back tomorrow." No, you don't need to do that. You need to allow your body to come through the infection, the healing, whatever it is, and then in 6 to 10 weeks, get retested. Be aware of the medications and the effect on it. And here's another one. There are so many vitamins that affect. If you're taking biotin, it can affect a lot of your body. I take somewhere around 20,000 biotins a day, and that definitely would affect my blood work if I didn't back off right before taking the blood work. So myself personally, I always go at least 3 to 5 days, no vitamins, no supplements, and then from there I get my blood work drawn. But everybody's different, so you do you, and it will work. Okay, last thing. What is normal, coach, and what range should I be in? You guys, this again, worldwide stats, United States wide stats. It doesn't apply to carnivores as much as we would like for it to. But here's some rule of thumbs. It is going to be different based on your age. It is going to be different if you're a male or a female. And the biggest thing is your insulin especially is going to vary depending on what your habits are. So lack of sleep, high cortisol, all of these things can affect that test result. And I personally just had mine done. I did a fast and I had it done. You should be somewhere between 3 and 7. That would be considered healthy. If you go to a doctor, they're going to tell you between 3 and 25. So you come to me and you're like, "Oh yeah, I had an insulin test at 16. Oh my word, that's outrageous. That's unacceptable, right? So I came in at a 4.3, which I feel is really good considering that I was insulin resistant. I had all these issues. And by the grace of God, finding Carnivore and being here literally has healed my body. And even on my insulin, my fasting insulin results, to come in at a 4.3, I am ecstatic. That is like dead center, 3 and 7, right? But I have clients, you guys, that are up at 16, 17, and their doctor hasn't said a word about it because there's no medication for that. But if we treat our liver, we can bring our insulin down. So do your hot water and your lemon every morning for the rest of your life. Let's get that liver functioning, because all of these symptoms, I call them babies, they were birthed from a malfunctioning liver. So this is just an overall of your blood work. If you want more information, reach out and we can take a specific test, go over what you're looking for, your age, your condition, who you are, your family history, whatever, and we can knock that out of the park so that you can get better, get healed, and keep going forward. Really important, you guys, this is the last thing I'm going to say so that you can go, is you must exercise, but don't exercise before a fast test and don't exercise before blood tests. But if you can get your metabolic system working and get that body engaged in something, I don't care if you stood here and you just stepped in place for 1 minute. It is better than not working out. The sedentary lifestyle that we have created in America, we're office, we're corporate, we're driving 3 hours a day, an hour to work, hour and a half back, sitting watching our kids at sports, sitting in airplanes. All of this is destroying your internal muscles. I just got off a live with this where the rule of thumb that everybody said was no, you don't need to work out. They say I'm fit and I'm this size and I don't even work out. You are atrophying. If you're 20 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, our goal is to make it to 100. What will be left if you don't take care of it today? We're building that future you all the time. Literally, get a water bottle, something as simple as a water bottle, and do 3 sets of 10 curls a day, 3 sets of tricep, 3 sets of shoulder, push it up, whatever you got to do, but get that body in motion, because a healthy body is a body in motion. We were designed as hunters. Think about what it takes to go hunting. Your blood work will realign itself through exercise. You just got to do it. Stay healthy, stay wise. This is a wellness journey. It's an ongoing process. There's no perfection, but there is a lot of progress. See you guys back soon. Take care and God bless.